Greetings, adventurers, and well met. Master of Dungeons here on the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the Master of Dungeons. You can also go over to Kick to follow us there, kick.com/Master of Dungeons. It is Sunday evening. Normally we do have our live play game for Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk. We've been playing that. Would have been episode 4 tonight, but we did have a dental emergency for one of our players. Their face is really swollen, so we're not feeling comfortable talking, let alone being on camera. So we're going to go ahead and spend a couple hours this evening just doing what we do normally on our Tuesday stream, just chatting and stuff about D&D, working on some DM prep, answering questions from any viewers that we have. Some days we usually have a number of viewers come through to watch our live game. Hopefully stick around and chat with me a little bit about D&D. And all of that nature. So we are working on, next weekend is the virtual D&D weekend for November. We are partnered with Baldwin Games and Wizards of the Coast to put on a basically 3-day online convention every month for playing Dungeons & Dragons. We have a few other things. Most of it's Adventurers League, which is the organized play for D&D. And we do have a little bit of homebrew stuff and special holiday events and things like that. You can actually go to, let me find the, I'll pull up the link you can go to pick up some tickets if you want to buy tickets. Again, like I said, it is mostly Adventurers League. There's some non-Adventurers League stuff there as well. You can actually create a first-level character for Adventurers League or a fifth-level character for Adventurers League. If you're interested in finding out anything about the Adventurers League rules and such, click on the About Us section below here on Twitch and click on the Discord panel. That will give you an invite to the Master of Dungeons Community Discord server, where if you click on your roles, you click Adventurers League, it will have all of the documents, all the most recent documents and everything you need to know about playing Adventurers League. It's really simple and easy. Just rules is written, but you can go to that link there and chat. yawningportal.dnd.wizards.com, virtual D&D weekends, November 2023, to find tickets to play in different games. They're usually about, I think, $20 on average for the ticket. You'll probably end up playing, if you have a full table with 5 players, a total of 5 players, including yourself, and then of course the DM, so 6 players total at the table. There are different VTTs that are used. Most of them are Roll20. There are a few Foundry games. There are some Fantasy Ground games. There's some Owlbear Rodeo games as well for different things. And I believe some people still might be doing stuff on Theater of the Mind with just through Zoom or Discord. I'm not sure if there's any of those DMs still about. But again, majority of the games are on Roll20. And that's what we're prepping for tonight. Normally, I would also stream my Sunday night game from the virtual D&D weekend, but we're going to just go ahead and go back to, we're not going to be doing the Sunday night slots of the virtual D&D weekend anymore. We're just going to go ahead and do our normal Phandelver and Below streams on Sunday evenings as normal. So unfortunately tonight, because of the dental emergency from one of our players, we're not going to be doing live game tonight, but we will be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for our episode 4 of Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, since we're not going to be doing the streams from the virtual D&D weekend anymore. But yeah, we're prepping for that next weekend right now. We are going to be running a couple of adventures. We're running DDL 0704 Walk in the Park and DDL 0705 Whispers in the Dark. We're running both of them on Friday, and then we're running both of them on Saturday, and then Sunday we're scheduled to run a Walk in the Park, but it looks like Sundays are going to be a little slow, so that game might not go off. But we're preparing our base room of our Tomb of Annihilation base room for those adventures for next weekend. So we have finished up, as I mentioned before. I always like to go through and try to prep the adventures very similar to how they would have the hardcover prepped and all of that. So you go through each one of your chapters and each section, everything's sectioned off, all of that. So that's how I set up the AL modules as well. Basically has a little bit about the adventure, of course, the credits, all of that stuff. And right now we're working on 05. We did just finish up getting the handout ready for part 1. We did put some maps in. And again, if you haven't seen the new folders, it's basically replaced your pages, but it's the same thing as your pages, your old map pages that are in there. The folders are basically the same. So like right now, currently we're on the landing page. The players tab is on the landing page as well. You just click to go to a different map, just like you want to go to the map of Chult. You can just go over there. But they actually added folders. So what you can do is you can put specific maps for specific folders for specific adventures or encounters, things like that. So like my Tomb of Annihilation folder has all of the maps from the Tomb of Annihilation hardcover. And then, of course, we have for our other adventures we've already put in, and we've put in some maps for '05, which is what we're doing right now. These are the hand-drawn maps from the adventure themselves. So they're we did put some dynamic lighting on there. We did have to put some because they did not have player maps in there. They just had the DM maps in there. So we did put a little things over the hints. These things on the map layer that we can remove and the players get that information right. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through and go on the GM layer and go ahead and start populating the map. Right here. Okay, so character activate the obelisk or the pillar. So we're going to have 4 yellow musk zombies and a yellow musk creeper. So we're going to go into our creatures down here. So we're going to put a yellow musk creeper on the GM layer here. We should already have everything all set up to where players can see it. Yep. That should not be whispering as well. And let's go actually double check that because we did go through all of the creatures and we did make sure everything didn't whisper to roll their rolls to the DM. So we're going to just double check that real quick. Just make sure that everything's working properly. And that is never whisper rolls. Perfect. And we're only adding the dex to the tiebreaker for named NPCs or really powerful NPCs. And we also have to have 4 yellow musk zombies. Now this encounter may seem fairly powerful. I mean, it is fairly powerful for a tier 1 group, but at the same time, the whole encounter is designed for the players to run. They are not intended to win, as we're going to show up here in the. Well, let's put them down here in the bottom corner over here. Upon the second roll, was it the Assassin Vine? Let's go ahead and pull the Assassin Vine out. That's if it's a stronger group. We're going to pull that out and set it down here in this area. It says maybe set it by one of the panels. So let's go ahead and set it. The players are going to be coming in most likely at the south, wherever we decide to have them come in, probably from the south. So let's go ahead and put this Assassin Vine over by this panel on this obelisk, because the players are supposed to go around these obelisks, find out the information on them so that they can open this obelisk, these columns here, I should say, to open this obelisk in the middle to get down into this fane that they need to get to. So we're going to put that over there. And then it also has us going through and at the end of the 4th round of combat, 2 more zombies shamble into the courtyard, and 2 rounds later, 3 more enter. And every round after that, 3 more enter. So we're going to put 7, 8 out there, down here in the corner. At the end of the 4th round, so we're going to go up here to text. Two rounds later into 6th round. All right, we're going to go ahead and select our select token. We're going to hold down our Alt key. We're going to pick up the end of fourth round, put that right above. Hold down our Alt key, put into sixth round and above. Hold down our Alt key and put this right there. So now we know for this part and this map that these are going to be what they, well, actually it's also put on here. Is that for a very strong party? Let's double check that. Does have our adjusting the scene. Yeah, very strong is a, we're not going to worry about the band trap. That's not that big of a deal. We are going to put a very strong. And we're actually going to go ahead and move that below the Assassin Vine down here. We move it right there. That should be fine. All right. So we know if it's strong, very strong party, we'll go ahead and add Assassin Vine by this column here, and then of course at the end of the fourth round, 2 more zombies come out. At the end of the sixth round, 3 more zombies come out. And in the eighth round and every round after that, 3 more zombies come out. Because it's intended for the players to be scared and not be able to realize eventually that the PCs that they're not going to win. Unfortunately, that is a very difficult thing to do sometimes because many players do have a never say die attitude. And there are a couple of things in the Tomb of Annihilation hardcover as well. Where the players, you can set up some things, especially with the King of Feathers, which is a rather large NPC in the ruins of Omu, the ancient capital of Chult, where the players do need to run. So that is the first. We're back on the token layer. That is the first map for part 1. Actually, we're going to move back over to our landing page. So we have stepping into the past is completed. We've got all that information. Now we just got to make sure that we have the handouts for the magic items. So we have Potion of Healing already in here, and we need to put a spell scroll of Warding Bond. So we'll just double check, see if we have a spell scroll in here already. Healing Word, Ice Knife, all of that. We're going to duplicate this. And we're going to go ahead. Oops, wrong button, wrong one. We're going to need to get the text for Warding Bond. So we're going to look up the spell Warding Bond. It's a second level abjuration spell. Go ahead and copy all these. And as we can see from a second level spell is a common spell or uncommon spell. So we're going to put uncommon up here. We will have to do a little bit of formatting as it's really odd about formatting everything in here properly. Oops. Just a little bit of extra stuff for the formatting. All right, so we're going to go up here. We're going to go ahead and set this as a header 5. Then we're going to change it back to normal, which gives them a little bit more of a tighter setup there. Everything's good there with the rest of the spell. Bold out all this. And then we've got that in there with the spell description in there. It is a spell scroll of Warding Bond. So now we have the spell scroll of Warding Bond in there, so that when we go to link our rewards at the end of the session, or at the end of the, when we go to get the reward handout at the end of the game, we'll have a link to be able to put these Warding Bond, spell scroll Warding Bond in there. Again, we did have some things in here that are marked Legacy. Adventurers League does not use XP rewards anymore. They actually just use milestones. But if you're, say, for example, you want to run this adventure and you're not playing Adventurers League, you just want to run this as a homebrew game, this series is really fun, you can actually use those faction assignments if you have characters that are in the different factions, or if they do special things to grant some extra XP as they're playing. Instead of just giving them XP for monsters, you can give them XP for other really cool things as they're going through. So we finished that up. We're going to go ahead and let's go up here. I'm going to leave the magic items open because we probably got to put some more in there. Come down here and put that in the adventure. So now we're ready to go on to part 2. Descending into darkness. All right. Now, again, with the adventures themselves in the hardcovers, Rule 20 puts all of the information in the GM's notes. I don't really bother with that because unless you share the handout with the characters, the players are not going to have access to the handouts. So I just put everything up here. If you ever wanted to share the room or something like that, it's an easy copy and paste just from up here down to there. So it's not really. I was leaving myself some extra space there. Don't think we did anything special. Yeah, okay. All right, there's going to be a story beat. Again, we use the quote that they use for box text in the Roll20 things. We just use that quote for actually our sidebars. And this season they had something in there called story beats, which isn't a bad thing. Kind of keeps helps the GM or helps the DM remember get a feel for how they need to how they might want to, not need to, but might want to run that part of the adventure. And like I said, the quotes, we use the quoting thing for the sidebars, and we actually just go ahead and create a single table with just one frame, and then that's where we put our box text. You do have to kind of copy, and sometimes if the PDF is formatted properly, it will allow you to completely copy a big section of text to put in here. Sometimes if it's not properly formatted, it'll end up basically creating its own rows in the table, because it is recognizing it as a table, but you can actually if you copy and paste, if it's not set up properly, you can actually just copy and paste each line of text to put it in there as well. Got some more viewers coming in. Yeah, unfortunately, we had a dental emergency with one of our players. Don Shin was not able to play this evening as he's got a very swollen cheek and is a really tough time talking. So we are going to be coming back next Sunday with episode 4 of Fandelver and Below. So I just figured I'd go ahead and stream a little preview of what we do on Tuesdays for our Dungeons and Deliberations. Just kind of a sit around and talk about DM prepping, talk about Dungeons and Dragons in general, answer any questions viewers might have about being a DM or being a player or anything about Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so there's our box text done. Now again, these adventures are only around 2 to 2.5 hours. So as we did for, if you go back and watch our stream for Dungeons and Deliberations where we worked on 04, we actually have, we're adding, they had Tomb of Annihilation came out, they actually had a supplement on the Dungeon Masters Guild called Encounters in the Jungles of Chult. And so what we're doing is that we're using some of those encounters to extend, because each one of those encounters, you could probably extend it to an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. So we're going to pick a couple of encounters after we get this whole adventure put in, the whole module put into the Roll20. We're going to go through and pick a couple of these encounters in the Jungles of Chult to add to this adventure to stretch the time. All right, onto the characters. Fane. All right, then we have the general features. Plus, the other reason why, again, as I mentioned lots of times, you could simply put the PDF into the game room itself, as Roll20 does accept PDFs now, which is great. But the problem is the way the PDFs work, just like with any PDF reader, you're going to be flipping back and forth, up and down, switching pages and all of that just to get to information. Whereas if I need information about, the part 1, I can just open just part 1 and find the info that I need without having to go through, open the PDF, go find the information that you need, and keep flipping back and forth. It does take obviously a little bit more time to prep the rooms and prep the adventures in the way that I do it. However, in the long run, ends up saving time, especially if I happen to go back through and I have a client game or a group of clients that want to come in and they say, hey, could you give us a great experience for Tomb of Annihilation? So not only will I have the whole Tomb of Annihilation adventure in here, I'll have these lower level adventures that you could do as like side quests and things like that. And everything's already prepped and ready to go in the base room itself. That way, I don't have to actually create a brand new room. I can just copy this room for those games. All right. There was a really weird thing too between season, I believe it was season 7 and 8, or either 8 and 9, where they ended up encouraging the writers to not write box text, which was very odd to me, being that that is one of the most fun things about writing adventures, at least in my opinion, is the filling out the box text, which I always find very, very important to an adventure, because it allows you as the author to place what is important in the scene, so that when a DM reads it to the players or paraphrases it, I always encourage to try, if you're going to paraphrase, just make sure you get all of the beats, and make sure if you are paraphrasing it, that whatever you're changing is not omitting something that is important that the author put in there, so that the characters aren't led astray by other things you might paraphrase that's really not in the room, and can kind of throw things off the rails, as it were. Okay. And we do have a little bit of, I don't know why they do this, but we'll do it anyway. And we have already put in the Fane of the Whispered Fang map on here, so after we get finished with all this, we'll go through and populate that as well. From running this in the past, this scene always reminded me of the classic film Clash of the Titans from the 1980s, where Perseus enters into Medusa's lair and you see the statues around. This always kind of gave me that feel when I've ran it before, because she's a nightmare speaker. She has the false appearance traits, so the characters don't really know where she is when she's speaking, which is pretty cool. Especially these descriptions here. glad they got rid of the tricks of the trade. I was never really I'm never really fond of it myself, just because um, when I write an adventure, when I write a module or encounters or anything like that for things, I want the DM to make it their own. I don't want the DM to say, "This is how I want." I don't want to tell the DM, "This is how I wrote it. And this is how you should run it." I'm kind of glad they got rid of the tricks of the trade in a lot of the AL adventures, because I felt very uncomfortable, I guess, looking at an adventure that I'm supposed to be running, and then the author saying, "Well, this is how you're supposed to run it." I do like the idea that they do give you suggestions. Here's a way to help with immersion, especially with like the things right here, the acoustics of the chamber, and play up the cinematic effect with things such as. Um, and the tricks of the trade obviously were just really suggestions about how to do stuff, but I just still felt that it wasn't something that you maybe put a note in, like suggestions for DMs. But it's okay for newer DMs, I guess. But for experienced DMs, I kind of felt like that was, I don't know, not necessary. There we go. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, and that was so. I do like this note though, because they did give a tier one group, your tier one characters in this, and they give the creature they're fighting legendary actions, so it can make it a little bit tougher. Shaskatar isn't quick to pick a fight, it says. Okay. To fit the best dumb fighter stereotype. All right. Let's go ahead and fix all these bulleted spots first. The really great thing about this adventure too, which is great because I believe it is the last. Yeah, it is the last of the tier one adventures. It does really set up and give you information about what's coming in the storyline as a DM, which is really nice. Probably something that the DMs from our Dreams of the Red Wizards campaign would really like for me to do, but I didn't want to spoil the story, so there's probably a little resentment there from them, but that's okay. Many of them are like, "Oh, I like the reveals now." What they've also done in the newer adventures and newer formats and such like that is that when they had, instead of role playing this NPC, they have the NPC's name, basically their species and gender identity and pronouns, and then they'll give a little bit of brief history about them, and then they'll say what do they want, and a little thing instead of a quote, they'll give like a little personality quirk about them, something specific about um, their personality, which is nice. Now let's go ahead and give us a couple more returns there. That way we have a little bit of working room. The Wadumu, of course, the Wadumu who would be blue, the Grung that is helping the PCs out, sort of. Now, like for example, this is a really cool thing that I do like about this Tricks of the Trade, is that a lot of this is really more along the lines of giving you, instead of saying this is how they should do it, here's some things to help you out. Like for example, this one it says you could have them render the aid to the character, stabilize them, or administering potions, provided they have any that they know about. What I might even do is say, okay, he has a healer's kit and the healing feat. Or has a healer's kit that he can use the healer's feat basically with. So he could stabilize characters if they're at 0 with the healer's kit, the expanded use of that, or he can also use the healer feat, which is a dice 6. What's a healer? It's dice 6 plus, is it your wisdom modifier? No, just a dice 6 plus 4. So that way you can have something there for the characters if they don't have a lot of healing potions. I mean, obviously you don't, at least for me, the characters usually want to survive the story and find out what the story is. And then we have adjusting the encounter. Now, a lot of these really are suggestions that are mostly for newer DMs. If you're an experienced DM, you generally get the feel for how the fight or the combats are going, and you can learn to, I mean, that's a really great skill to learn, is being able to adjust things on the fly, changing hit points around if you need to, lessening the damage, increasing the damage of certain monsters as the combats go through. So very weak, I would replace her with a Yuan-ti Pureblood. I'm probably going to have to, unless she might have some a little bit of changes, so we're probably going to have to go through and create Shas Qatar ourselves, which will just take a Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker and duplicate it, rename it to Venom Queen Shas Qatar, and then we'll add any new stuff that's a little different from a Nightmare Speaker. We'll also go ahead and make her make a copy of her for the Yuan-ti Pureblood. That way, there's a version of that as well. Type changes to monstrosity. We're going to go ahead and highlight all of these. Oh, I guess we don't have to do that. Okay. Main thing is just to get the monstrosity part. Okay. So we can take out her type change to monstrosity because that's already in there. All right, for the weak part. Again, she's a Yonti Pureblood instead. Oh, Nightmare Speaker. All right. Had a Malison. Malazan. How do you want to say that? Malison. Type 3. Oops, type 3. Oops. Pitmaster. Cool. Down the sidebar. We're going to put legacy in this parentheses here because this would be mostly pertaining to characters that would be lawful evil. You used to be able to play lawful evil in the Adventurers League, but they changed that around to where you have to play either good or neutral characters. You can't play lawful evil anymore. And neutral evil and chaotic evil obviously are banned from Adventurers League play. I'm going to double check to make sure I'm still formatting the same way I did in the part 1 for the Zentarum. Yeah, okay, perfect. Again, these faction assignments were something that were really cool that the characters could get extra XP depending on what faction they were in. The factions really aren't used much in Adventurers League play anymore. And they definitely don't. Most adventures, or actually all adventures right now, do not give out specific rewards for the factions. And again, if you're not running it AL, you're running it as part of your home table or your running it outside just regular D&D rules, you can go ahead and add that extra XP reward if you want to. All right, I have treasure. Which has Pearl of Power, which is really cool for lower level characters. Fairly valuable headdress. Alright, so we need to double check. We'll come back out here on magic items and see if there's a Pearl of Power already in the game. There is already a Pearl of Power in the game, so we'll be able to link directly to that, which is great. Alright, so we don't have to make that. We already have the Potion of Healing in there also. And the other stuff is just gold related stuff. Another box text. Dun, dun, dun. There is no mistaking it. The Fane is collapsing. Alright, so we finished part 2, Descending into Darkness. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Fane of the Whispered Fang. I think earlier somewhere there was a typo in the adventure. I did want to check that too. Was it at the top of that? Alright, so we're here in the Fane. So first we need to, before we continue on with part 3, let's go check the creatures. Let's close our magic items here. Let's go check the creatures. I don't think we have a Venom Queen in here. There is not. There might be a familiar creature from Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, so there's no Venom Queen, so we're going to have to go through and fairly easily, shouldn't take very long to find a Yuan-Ti. We'll create a first one. Let's move over to, I always like to have my DM workshop to be able to work on tokens, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and minimize this, put it down here. We're going to go to Yuan-Ti. First thing we're going to do is we're going to copy this, duplicate. Oops, there it is. And then we're also going to make 2 duplicates of the Yuan-Ti Pure Blood. Because we're going to need to make 2 versions of her that have the adjustments. Again, we probably won't need to use them ourselves, but again, for future purposes, they're good to have in there just to make sure that we have them. Okay, so copy of Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker. This is just the as she is normal. We're going to change it to Venom Queen. Alright, let's double check. We've got AC 14, hit points 71, speed 30, 16, 14, 13, 14, 12, 16. Challenge rating 4, shape changer. Death fangs twice a day, innate spellcasting Yuan-Ti form only, animal friendship snakes, and suggestion. Magic resistance. Spellcasting Yuan-Ti, 6th level spellcaster. Warlock spells. Mage hand, message, poison spray, prestidigitation. Darkness, Arms of Adar, Darkness, Fear, Hex. Hold person, Witch Bolt, okay. Actions. Multi-attack, Yuan-Ti form only. 1 constrict and 1 scimitar attack, okay. Constrict is the same, scimitar. Evoke Nightmare. Alright, now she is also going to have 3 legendary actions. So we're going to come down here and we're going to put legendary actions 3. We're going to add tiebreaker to initiative for her because she is a named NPC. And now that we put those in there, we can add these legendary actions in as well. So the first one is Slither. Next one is Blinding Spittle. Slice and Dice is 2 actions. Counts as 2 legendary actions. Makes 2 scimitar attacks. And finally, Squeezing Your Life Away. That is 3 actions. So basically, what this is that when we go to use this, for example, I'll show it in the chat over here. We always clear the chat before we actually copy the rooms. We always clear it afterwards. That way, there's no extra chat in here. So when we go to copy the room, it's all fresh and neat and everything. So that way, when we go to, she goes to do her Squeezing Her Life Away. We'll click that, and it'll actually roll the bludgeoning damage for us. What you can do is you can embed those by putting 2 brackets. Again, not the shifted ones, just the normal brackets, 2 brackets, and then put the dice you want rolled and whatever modifiers in it, and then 2 closed brackets, and then when you actually click on that ability, it'll actually roll the damage for you and put that out there. So you don't have to use the average, as this is the average damage from 2d6 plus 3. I think that is all of her things. So the only thing we'll have to do then differently from her is go ahead and do this. We made her. Let's pull this out here. This is going to represent Venom Queen. Oops, there we go. We're going to put Venom Queen on there. We're just going to put her name like that. So she is all finished up there. Unfortunately, they have not set up a new room for Tomb of Annihilation with updated with token actions and such like that for the tokens. We could do so, but it's just easier to, probably just going to be easier to open up our character sheet and just roll from the character sheet, which should be fine. Again, as I mentioned before, if you're not familiar with it, for example, Volo, if you want to open the character sheet and have access to the character sheet, you don't have to pop it out. A lot of people like to pop them out. You just double click on the name and it will minimize it to a little almost transparent little tab that you can move around. It doesn't matter where you put it, it'll still open it up back up to the last location you had it open. So if you want to put it over here, obviously closing that down, you can move this tab around, it'll still open up right where you left it. So that's why generally you'll see if I'm, like when I was running the VDWs, you'd see all of these different tabs over here from minimizing all the different things. All right, so now we want to do another copy. We want to do the first copy for her week version. We'll come back to that here to say, oh, there we go. And for the week version, there we go. Oh, this is the very week version. Okay, so it's week and very week that we're doing. So this is going to be, let's go ahead and say this real quick. We'll come back to it. So she's going to be a medium monstrosity. Oh yes, that's what we also have to put into the other Venom Queen is Legendary Resistance. All right, so we have that in there now. Let's go ahead and look at. Yeah, so the only thing that changes is that she has legendary resistance and the slither and biting poison legendary actions possessed by Queen. But only has 2 legendary actions per round instead of 3. So we're going to go to legendary actions 2. She has legendary resistance, so let's add that in. Oops. Did it just close the close the room on me? Oops. It did. Uh-oh. Well, it saved most of it. That's good. And what did it say she had? she also has the Slither and Blinding Poison actions. Okay. Blinding Spittle, yeah, Blinding Spittle, okay. All right, let's go ahead and edit that to make sure that that's updated with the actual text of the monster, the stat block. She has Blinding Spittle. And I think that's all it said to change, right? So she has Monstrosity, which we changed from the original Pure Blood. Everything else is the same. She has Legendary Resistance trait, which we do have. Oh, we got to put that 3 times a day. Blinding Spittle and Slither. Alright, so that is her very weak version. We'll come back down over here. Go up to Venom Queen, very weak. Looks good. So if we pull out another thing, it is good to go. And then we just got to do the weak version. Monstrosity. That is a big important thing to note because certain spells can target humanoids. So like a whole person targets a humanoid. This NPC is actually a monstrosity, not a humanoid, so it would not affect them. She does have 3 legendary actions. Go ahead and add the tiebreaker to initiative since she is a named NPC. I'm going to check this too real quick, make sure I did not put that in her actual name. Excellent. So she has the legendary resistance trait as well. Oh, wait, no, that's not what she has. Slice and dice is 2 actions. All right. I'm not going to worry about going through and dropping the Pitmaster down. If there's something very strong, we'll just put the Pitmaster in there and just make sure that we. Very rarely will you find a very strong group unless you're running a table of 6 or 7 level 4s. Will this be a very strong adventure? And our tables are limited to 5 players, so we don't have to really won't have to worry about the very strong very often. All right, so let's go ahead and pull that token out here. Weak. So we have our very weak, and then we have our weak as well, and our familiar is awake. We're going to text the wife to have her come grab her. My wife did get back from a very long trip over the weekend, a dance conference outside of the state, so she's a little tired. So we have all 3 versions over there. All right, now time for part 3. Part 3 only looks like 1 page. That's not bad. Okay, it's just going to be the collapsing of the Fane. Climbing. And just learn a spell. I'm going to save changes real quick and then go back to edit. And I'm going to take a small break, take care of my familiar, my cat, and be right back. Just please stick around. Just a couple minutes. Another story beat. Duma betrays them. Now, obviously, when we go to put in the couple of random encounters, not necessarily random encounters, the encounters in the jungles of Chult, we will have to put them before they make it to the ruined city. Because obviously they get into the city itself, they get into the obelisk, they need to find a way to get down into the fane. There's that fight, then there's into the fight as well. Obviously, we're going to give the players a short or long, probably a long rest after the first two encounters. That way, we're not depleting the resources so much because this is designed for 2 hours of play. So we don't want to spend 2 hours of play and to deplete their resources even more. To make it would make it almost impossible for them to get through the actual adventure itself after we put in the encounters to help lengthen the adventure. And suddenly his broken common accent is gone. Bulobo. Yeah, that's right. That was the name of the city. I was trying to remember that earlier. I always remind DMs also that whenever you see any sort of DC in an adventure, um, you can adjust those. Obviously, if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is a great game, so immersive and so much stuff in there, you'll see DCs of 5. For some things that are extremely simple, you might just use a passive check, uh, and like a passive investigation or a passive sleight of hand or something like that, just for things that are trivial. Um, that'll make it to kind of speed up things too as well, so you're not completely bogged down with dice rolls. And of course, if the players love rolling the dice, give them more options for that even. Yellow zombies. Being their first turn prone. And if every round thereafter 3 more zombies. We're going to put Yellow Musk. Nope. 4. So what I might do in this situation when I'm running it is, because obviously the treasure, they can either grab the treasure while they're fighting the Venom Queen. Might even give them brief respite afterwards to be able to do that. Obviously, there's not going to be time for a short rest because of that, but there might be like a build-up, like while they're pulling out the yellow diamonds. Something really cool to do is when they're getting the diamonds, they get the last one out. That's when the rumbling starts. So they can almost feel, oh, shoot, did we do that ourselves? Is removing these diamonds from the eyes what causes the feint to collapse, when it's actually obviously the crumbling of Denadar or whatever with killing his Venom Queen. But yeah, it's just another idea for allowing the characters to still get their treasure, but add a little bit more drama and tension to the encounter. Yep, and see, actually, right here, the conclusion. We could put another encounter after the conclusion. The only reason why I would put them before is because the kind of the build up and the final scene of fighting the Venom Queen and all that stuff like that is really the end of the adventure. You could, if you're running a homebrew and you're running multiple sessions and you're not pressed for time, you could always say, okay, well, the next adventure is going to be them traveling actually from the Fane and Belobo back to Port Nyanzaru. Oops. All right, this part 3 is all finished. Move it down here. We'll go back and go to the Fane here in a second and populate that here in a little bit. We do need to make a handout for the story award. extra flaw. Let's go ahead and copy this rewards here. We just got to change a little bit of the gold. So we have .43 GP. Necklace was 250 gold. Line of exactly okay there. Okay, so we have that done. Magic items, we have the Pearl of Power, Potion of Healing, save this real quick because we're going to add some other stuff in here. Just want to make sure that the handout links work. Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. We do need to go back up here to some of these rewards from early adventures when they had faction rewards. There we go, legacy player rewards, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, because it's legacy. Because there's no more renown awarded. You used to get renown points for doing stuff for your faction, and your certain factions would have specific things that you could purchase or get for free at higher levels and higher ranks, which they don't have anymore. Which would be nice for them to add back, but they don't have this anymore. All right, so the rewards are finished. We already got that there. We got the next super comes. We do need to do our next one, which is the. Oops, hold on a second. Cancel that. Close down rewards 5. Oops. Wadumu, who would be blue. All right, so we have here's the man trap. If we need that, we have the assassin fight already in here. We already have the 3 different versions of Queen Shah's guitar. We have the almost creepy, almost zombies, and we have the Yonti Mousens. We have the Pitmaster already, and the Pureblood and the Adventure also. And we have a couple of handouts. Might need to change because there's a pearl of power in Tomb of Annihilation, but we might have to add an extra one. Actually, no, we can just go ahead and put the put an addendum in the actual handout already. That'll be fine. All right, so we got to just do a couple of handouts here. Maybe. Obelisk handout, so when the players actually get into Belobo, they'll be able to see what the obelisk looks like in the center. And then they'll have a handout for the outer pillars. Let's go ahead and head on back down here to magic items. Go down to our Pearl of Power. A little fun flavor. This is awesome too because it acts as a ring, which kind of bypasses the thing of having to pull it out because you've already have it have it in a ring on you. Awesome. I think that's all of our handouts that we need to get for the players. We have all the monsters in there. Now we just need to go through and we'll populate the map. So we're going to go to the GM layer because all of these creatures are going to be on the GM layer. I have the normal queen. I want the pillars. I'll pull it up just to make sure. Let's have her back here by this pillar. And we already have gone through and put lighting all on these already. So that's her. We're also going to go ahead and put the weaker versions out here. We won't put them in those exact same spots as the other one. We'll kind of put the Very weak over there. Then we'll put the weak down here. Then we have a Malazan type 3. It's a possibility. I'll put this one over here. It'll be more of a danger to the PCs right off the bat, and then we'll put the Pit Master. Well, I'm glad we went through and did this because we didn't have a Pit Master in there. And we're going to pull the one out from Monsters the Multiverse. Don't move our Pitmaster. Why is that? That's crazy. I guess we're still opening it. Okay. Let's do it real quick. Make sure it doesn't never whisper rolls perfect. Let's move up to the token layer real quick. And put the Pitmaster there. So otherwise, it's just her. If they're weak, it'll be one of these. If they're very weak, it'll be this one. If they're weak, it'll be this one. And then if they're strong, it'll be this creature in addition to her. And if it's very strong, it'll be this creature in addition to her. So the map is populated. The other map is populated as well. I don't think there's anything else to add to the adventure itself. So that is good done there. We can go ahead and maybe browse through. We're not going to actually put them in, unless they're really short. We're not going to put them in the adventure on stream, because we're going to finish up here about 5 minutes or so, maybe about 9 minutes or so. But yeah, let's go through and take a look at some of the encounters in the jungles of Chult. Let me do this. Let's add a source. Put that in there. So again, we're going to eventually have all of these in here as well. We'll put our extra stuff in there, like credits and all that stuff. So what we're looking for is we're looking for 2. We've already used, see which ones we've already used here. Chewinga Challenge and River Hop. So let's keep that in mind when we're looking through these. Monkey stone golems. Gonna charm a fly. I'm assuming we did the Chewinga Challenge for the first one. Let's scroll down here and see if they have the list for the Monkey Stone Golems. Let's see what their CR is for the creatures. Monkey Stone Golems is CR4. We could do that. Give the PCs a chance to get a charm, a fly. That is pretty powerful. And of course, the CR means that it would take, for medium encounter, it would take 4 fourth level characters to defeat the Monkey Stone Golems. That's an interesting idea. Let's go ahead and continue looking through here real quick. We've got Jungle Chase. I'm not really big on chases myself, and there's a Froggy Moth in that one, so no, we're not going to use that one. It's a DC 12 strength. They don't have Dispel Magics at this level because they're only going to be maximum level 4. A DC 15 con save's pretty strong, and it's doing 8d6 radiant. Obviously, we could drop that down. And there's 1,000 golds. That's probably not, it's probably more for tier 2. And this is a bunch of Were-Tigers. That's definitely not really for maximum level 4 characters. Although Cloak of Elvenkind is nice. Has 150 hit points. .10 psychic damage, yeah, that's a little too powerful. APL 14, so that's definitely a tier 3 adventure. Although the Eyes of Charming are fairly like a tier 1 thing. We did use River Hop in the first adventure. 12 giant baboons using 8 stat blocks. That's pretty tough. It could be adjusted. Because the treasure is only a Qual's Feather Token Swan Boat, and the gold is only 25 gold. You could be adjusted to just have, instead of 12 giant baboons, just 12 baboons. And instead of the leader being a Girlon, have it be an ape. We could also drop the number of baboons that are there. That's a possibility. So that would be page 10. This is just restraining, not doing any damage, really. We do have the Return to the Lizard King. We do have that, so we can find out more about the Tree Spirit weapons. That's a death slot, that's a no. That's a no there. Yeah, so we can go through and pick. There's going to be some great ones we can use for Tier 2 and some that we can use for the Tier 2s. Most of the actually all the Tier 3 and Tier 4 adventures for Season 7 are at least 4 hour adventures. And plus the very first Tier 2 adventure is actually very similar to the first, where there's like 4 or 5 1 hour quests. So we'll be able to fit those in there. So we'll go through. There's a couple of choices there. We can lessen some of the stuff for a Tier 1 group and put those in there. Shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it is top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and end the stream. Again, we will be back tomorrow night for our Around the Campfire stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Tuesday we'll be back for our normal Dungeons and Deliberations stream at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then Tavern Talks on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, Dungeon Delving on Thursday and Friday Thursday at 2 p.m. We will be off Friday for the virtual D&D weekend, but we will be back next Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern with episode 4 of our Fandelver Below the Shattered Obelisk next Sunday evening. So thanks for watching. Of course, thanks to all our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron or subbing here on Twitch, twitch.tv/themasterofdungeons. We love your Prime subs as well. If you happen to have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account. You get 1 free sub a month, and we would love for you to spend that sub here on our channel. Of course, the link to our Patreon page, as well as our YouTube channel and all of our social media accounts, can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch. If you would subscribe to us on YouTube, it is free. Like and comment on the videos. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give us some likes, retweets, all of that good stuff. Every sub, like, and share helps us immensely. You can also support us by clicking on the About Us section below, where you can join the Master of Dungeons community Discord server and help shape an accepting, caring, and inclusive D&D community. The merch store is also open. We have a number of wonderful T-shirts, hoodie, some ball caps, and some glassware, I think pint glass, and some coffee mugs. That will definitely help support the channel. Of course, tips are always welcome, but not expected. Thanks for watching. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow for some Around the Campfire. Until then, have a great rest of your evening, and have a great day tomorrow. And as always, happy adventure. Take care.